Hello, my name is Mark Adornato, and I am a non-religious artist based here in Ottawa, Canada. I'd like to welcome you to my artist talk and exhibition installation about my latest body of artwork, titled Dystopia Rising. And unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, it is going to be a very small appointment-only affair based out of my art studio and accompanied by this video. This body of artwork draws inspiration from my Christian Italian heritage, but also from several influential art research trips I recently took to Armenia, Georgia, Turkey, Berlin, Greece, and Italy, exploring some of my own genetic and cultural history through the lens of art history. Some of the very influential highlights of the trips included visiting the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, the medieval monasteries in Armenia and Italy, the Vatican Museum, Giotto's Scrovegni Chapel in Padua, and stumbling upon some of the earliest Christian propaganda painted in the caves of Cappadocia, Turkey. The artistic aesthetic of my recent artwork is deeply rooted and highly referential to early Christian, Byzantine, and medieval art, but incorporates contemporary dystopian content, drawing parallels between the past and the present. So with all this contextual information in mind, and with the help of a City of Ottawa artist production grant, I stocked up on oil paint and brushes and antique frames and began to paint. Some of the subject matter discussed in this talk may be disturbing to some viewers. The School of Athens mass shooting was one of the first paintings I made in the series. After seeing countless incidents of mass school shootings in the United States, but also faith-based attacks and a growing trend of domestic homegrown terrorism in the US, New Zealand, and here in Canada and around the world, I felt it needed to be addressed. I wanted to create a kind of epic painting that would reflect this very dark and pervasive part of our modern society. This painting proved to be a largely difficult, disturbing piece to make, and in an attempt to lighten the mood for art history buffs, I tied in a few art history references, like the Raphael reference to the School of Athens, but also Jacques-Louis David's The Death of Marat, Rue Transnonain by Daumier, The Death of General Wolfe by Benjamin West, and even a guy from Goya's The 3rd of May and The Raft of Medusa. In God We Trust is much more reflective of Byzantine icons, but also portrays gun culture problems happening in the US, where religion and guns seem to be going hand in hand, which is what inspired The Saints Go Marching, which is actually one of the most recent paintings I made. It was completed about a week before the 2020 US election, where Trump narrowly lost to Joe Biden after an erratic campaign where Trump actually got COVID-19 and famously told right-wing neo-Nazi group the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by during a debate.
White supremacists and white supremacists and right Proud Boys,
stand back and stand by, but I'll tell you what.
So here you can see Jesus, who I modeled after Cuban artist Alfredo Rostag's Gorilla Christ, followed by Trump dressed up like the Pope, followed by Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes, followed by a Giotto-like character, followed by me mocking the gang by giving the stink eye. Many of the paintings in this series were made in 2018-2019, pre-pandemic. But in March 2020, when COVID lockdown hit in Canada, my production level went into high gear. The casualties of COVID-19 and COVID-19 wreaks havoc on long-term care homes both started as watercolor sketch studies in March of 2020, when news that the virus was really hitting China, Italy, and Spain hard and was starting to take a toll on long-term care homes in Quebec and Ontario here in Canada. These two pieces were homages to medieval bubonic plague works that I found in medieval manuscripts from the 1300s. I of course put modern twists on them, incorporating hazmat suits, multicultural symbols, graffiti, and made few references to how some folks got better treatment than others. As priest pedophilia cases and Catholic corruption stories seem to be on the rise, less and less people seem to be wasting their Sundays in church, which is perhaps why we're seeing more and more deconsecrated churches turning into non-religious event spaces, and more religious artifacts are flooding into the flea markets and thrift stores, which is great news for my art installation. And partly what inspired this painting that I call Salvador Mundi, where a biblical figure holds up an iPhone filming us while cradling a spinning planet and a note in his other hand laced with French Catholic swear words. People always ask me where I get my antique century-old frames. Well, I spend a lot of time hitting auctions, estate sales, flea markets, and buying all sorts of antiques, but it was a shop in Montréal, Quebec where I found this. As we rang in 2020, I had the idea to cover this religious artifact in both local and international graffiti, giving the impression that it is just an old, discarded relic from some expired past civilization. I had fun painting this one with graffiti and street art that I saw on my trip, like the Berlin Kids, Space Invader, Banksy, One Up, the What If Fire, as well as local Ottawa street artists TRP613, Kanakilla, and Pes. After my trip to Athens, Italy, and Berlin in 2019, my appreciation for street art and graffiti really accelerated, and not only did I have a bit of fun doing some myself, but I felt it was also an important element to work into my new paintings. St. Karlos Contemplates the Consequences of Capitalism is one of the larger paintings in the show. It depicts an old, distraught monk sitting in Rodin's thinker pose, surrounded by tree deforestation, plastic bags and bottles washing ashore, graffiti, and Tim Hortons cups strewn about the lawn, and if you look closely, you can find 4-letter words hammered into the gold leaf halo. St. Marcus of Zebi is a reference to St. Francis of Assisi, but instead this monk is holding a gas mask and a dead canary, which for those who don't know is the bird that they would bring down into the coal mines to detect poisonous air. Other fun paintings I made include Joseph and Mario and the adoption of the Magi, where I used all the colors of the rainbow in their outfits and hammered in the words love is love is love is love into their halos. Witness to the Great Obsolescence is a dystopian painting featuring a couple of millennials filming a robotic Christ figure surrounded by dirty old tech oil refineries and surveillance drones. This piece depicts a very proto-Renaissance-esque cherub dropping AR-15 assault rifles down on a metropolitan modern city skyline with a military drone and a few American F-22 fighter jets flying overhead, juxtaposing old world art imagery with new world elements. And I made a few mother and child paintings, one where the mother and her kind of alien-looking baby are staring at an iPhone, and another more futuristic sci-fi version, and a few other paintings to fill up the walls, floor to ceiling. Including a 1956 painting by my Italian great-uncle, Father Giovanni Morando, who was a priest and a religious artist in Italy, Argentina, and Kenya. But finally, one of my personal favorites is St. Francis Fears the Stigma of Witnessing a UFO. Fans of art history may recall the several famous versions of St. Francis receiving the stigmata from the 1300s by Taddeo Gaddi, Bardi, and Giotto. Other final elements to the exhibition included numerous medieval manuscript watercolor drawings that I made on chaga tea-stained paper, St. Marcus's holy water finger dipping dishes with water that I blessed that does absolutely nothing for you. And one of the last additions to the entire exhibition installation that really completed the show is a massive collection of religious statues and paraphernalia that I largely got from artist and art collector Bill Stobie, and a bunch of furniture pieces that I've collected or made myself. If you're interested in booking an appointment to come by my studio and see this installation, you can shoot me a message and we'll find a COVID-safe way for you to do that. Or if you're seriously interested in acquiring any of these paintings or manuscript drawings, They are for sale, so just reach out. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to thank the City of Ottawa for the artist production grant to make this body of work, the Ottawa Art Gallery and the Diefenbunker Museum for their ongoing support, and each and every one of you for watching. Thank you all. Stay safe and healthy, and let's hope we have a better 2021.